A major accusation could sink Netflix's biggest project and the most expensive television experience in the history of TV shows. Millie Bobby Brown, the lead actress of Stranger Things, now claims that her TV dad, David Harbour, who also happens to be an MCU man, has a bad habit of harassment. Now, fears abound that Stranger Things could go the way of The Cosby Show, and Netflix is rushing to save the day. Hello folks, and welcome back to the WDW Pro Channel, where every single day we channel the good vibes of truth with a capital T. Here the sky is never falling, panic stays at bay, and we bring the know-how of knowing how things are going to go. Now folks, if you paid any attention to what happened last evening, you should know that there are strong reactions, and we're going to get to that if you're watching this video at the time of release. Tonight on the Pro Channel, we're going to be talking about what Hollywood is doing with the results in New York City. New York City! That's right, folks, we'll talk about it. And no, we are not going to come at it with our hair raised and our arms flailing in the sky saying, oh my! No, folks. We are always, as always, ready to go with the analysis you need to know. All right, let's dive in to something that is going to be a huge deal going forward. And we're ahead of the curve as always. Folks, as we do so, click the like button. We need to begin with just what's on the line for Netflix here. Out of World of Real from October 9th, Jordan Rumi has this one. And then we're getting into the allegations. And can I just spoil the video? Can I spoil it for you? Okay, we got permission, good. Folks, it doesn't matter if the allegations are merited or true or frivolous. I mean, it does matter to some degree, but the topic of today, we're not going to try to figure that out. I'm going to tell you why. Without a doubt, this is pure danger to Netflix, and they can't afford it right now. Go look at their last results and how Brazil shellacked them in their stock. All right, here's what it says on World of Real. It looks like Netflix is going all in again, according to a new report from Puck News, P-U-C-K. The fifth and final season of the Duffer Brothers' Stranger Things will be the most expensive season of television ever produced, with a price tag that surpasses any Marvel movie. Now just sit with that for a minute, because did you know that before you came here? Did you realize that the finale of Stranger Things, this is why it's going to AMC, by the way, for the finale. Did you know the final season is more expensive than any Marvel movie ever made? According to this, more than the Infinity Wars. Did you know that? Did you know it's more than Endgame? Did you know that? Wow. The streamer is reportedly shelling out an average of $60 million per episode across 8 episodes. That is, give or take, a total of $480 million for a single season. For context, season 4 already pushed the envelope with $30 million per episode budget. And that was, by the way, with the pandemic affecting it, right? So that's why it was that high. But $60 million per episode, and it likely goes beyond. And that's not including marketing. If you're wondering, where are all my K-pop Demon Hunter things? Where are all the toys? Folks, put away the noise. The real reason is because Netflix bet everything on Stranger Things. That's what's going to be out there in the merch. And fine, Stranger Things is incredibly popular. It's been delayed. This thing has gone out too long, but it's very, very popular. So they're spending like crazy, okay? Now, lest we get hazy, let's dive straight into the allegations. Here's what we got. Out of That Park Place by Marvin Montanaro, a new report out of the UK claims Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown, 11 herself, filed a harassment and bullying complaint against her co-star David Harbour before the start of the show's final season. Which means, talk about frosty relations. A claim Netflix has not confirmed, and one that comes entirely from the Mail on Sunday's reporting, although we are getting more indications that this is true. Not that the allegations are true, mind you, but that she filed them. The story has ignited controversy online with a post about the allegations on X being hit with a community note pointing out that the original claim relies on anonymous sourcing tied to a friend of David Harbour's estranged wife. So this could be, a damage effort, but that does not take away the idea that it might be true, even if it is an attempt to impugn David Harbour. It also could be true. Not that the allegations are true, but the allegations were filed, and it seems to be that way. Now, here's why I can tell you that it seems to be that way. It seems to be that way because, at this point, At least David Harbour would probably come out and say, guys, I haven't had any allegations placed against me. Silence from him. At this point, surely Netflix would come out and say, you know what, this is false reporting. This never happened. Netflix hasn't done this. At the very least, Millie Bobby Brown would come out and say, hey, guys, you're saying this about somebody that I care about. I never filed this. I love the man. She has remained silent. That tells you much of what you need to know. It says, because this involves two of Netflix's most recognizable stars and one of Marvel's major stars in the post-Endgame era, and lands just a week before Stranger Things returns, the entertainment world is paying attention. The allegations stem from the Mail on Sunday, which reported that Brown submitted pages and pages of concerns and that Netflix internally investigated. The paper emphasized that none of the claims involved misconduct of a bedroom variety. Now, what you probably need to know is that we don't have some info that you want to know, but for this particular video, doesn't matter as much. We don't know what the Netflix investigation, if there is one, found. We don't know that. We don't know what the allegations even are, except that they're harassment and bullying. What we do know, and we can say with some authority, is that there's a huge problem here for Netflix because, folks, take a look at this. Out of People by Julia Moore. We're going to go to just a few days ago. Inside Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour's raw and real 10-year relationship. I want to scroll down because you need to know something about this that might not be immediately apparent, okay? If you go down to a couple paragraphs, it says, he told People, going back in time, several years ago, I think 2018 is when they're going back to, he initially wanted to preserve a lot of the character of his character, Hopper, off-screen for these kids because he wanted their performances to be as rich as possible, but then as the seasons go on, he felt like he became family to the kids. He had more of a mentor feeling. When Millie Bobby Brown, in particular, with her, he said, Millie and I have always had a sort of special relationship because I knew her when she was so young. I knew her before any of this big fame hit. I worry about her and the fame and all that she has to struggle with. And you get the idea, okay? He was a fatherly figure off screen, right? Okay, let's go down to how she felt about him. Brown, for her part, Millie Bobby Brown, described her real-life relationship with as parental. She says, Winona Ryder and David Harbour are like my parents. On set, they're like, stop running. What are you eating? Why are you eating that? She mentioned that Harbour was specifically protective over her romantic life. David is like another boy, she told the outlet. In 2018, Brown also opened up about how her relationship with Harbour evolved as their characters did. We went through so many different emotions. We get angry at each other. We are like father and daughter. We got angry at each other. We would express our feelings on and off set. And those scenes were so raw and real that the reward is the scenes. Goes on to say even more from her. She said, he always looked out for me and I always annoyed him like a daughter or younger sister. I was always trying to climb all over him and he was always rolling his eyes and laughing at me. I think that's kind of how the Eleven and Hopper relationship really started to develop in the show. It was mirroring our actual lives and our actual relationship. Now, why would I bring this up? Why is this article pertinent at all? Why does this matter? Because this is ugly. You all know that when ugliness inside a family breaks out into public view, it's ugly, right? This is a relationship that was akin to a parental relationship. This was something where a little girl and a grown man portrayed a father and a daughter on screen and off screen. They kind of felt the same way in some ways. And so when someone that was viewed as a daughter figure files a harassment claim with pages and pages and pages against someone who is seen as a fatherly figure, it's ugly. It's ugly. And we have reason to believe, strong reason at this point, because there are no denials that this was filed. Okay? So the next thing you might say is, okay, well, is it true or not? And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I want to go to Geeks and Gamers to cover this one. But what you need to know is, this is the most expensive thing Netflix has ever done. Nothing is as close. Nothing comes close. This is the most expensive thing. Everything is riding on this to really grow Netflix into the next quarter and put Disney away and then start trying to chip away at YouTube. And the fear here is that weeks before this finale happens, what if the allegations get out? What if they're ugly? What if they're bad? It takes a lot to get somebody who feels like a daughter to do this versus someone who was previously seen in a parental role. And if that happens, could it sink the entire season? Could it damage the entire show? Could this cause a Bill Cosby effect? Now, I'm not saying that David Harbour, I want to be very clear about this. I'm not claiming that he has done anything like what the cause did, okay? But I want you to think about it this way. When's the last time you turned on the TV and the Cosby Show was on? The actions of a bad man who presented himself publicly in a different way can devastate the careers and the legacy of a show. And especially if this happens before the finale season. It doesn't necessarily matter if the allegations are true. It doesn't necessarily matter if the allegations are subjective or objective. What matters is the damage it will do if these get out. Now, the damage is amplified if it comes out before or during the season. The damage will be significant if it comes out after the season. Okay? All of that said, without denials, there's going to be damage. Damage is likely to happen unless both sides decide they're going to be quiet and not say anything publicly. Now, as to whether or not there's truthfulness to any of this, one of the ugly parts about covering these kinds of things, I always am hesitant and I always dislike covering allegations that we don't know the content of and we don't know how you would defend against. And this reminds me of, when Mark Hamill's house was under threat of being burned down. Mark Hamill, the way that we perceive him, at least here, is he's a kind of a despicable guy. He said some really terrible things, some awful things, and he's just abrasive, right? He's just really abrasive. And we think that he's like integrated politics into a franchise, into a legacy character in such a way that it turns off maybe half the nation. It's just ugly stuff. Yet when Mark Hamill's house was under threat of the wildfires in California, we said, you know what, folks, pray that his house is saved. Because even people out there who act poorly in our judgment, we offer them grace as much as we possibly can, because one day we'll need grace as much as we possibly could need it. And so with David Harbour, I'm very hesitant to weigh in on this because, geez Louise, we don't even know fully the allegations, and the man can't defend himself. And perhaps all of this is locked behind an NDA. David Harbour is a kind of abrasive guy too. He says things that make me cringe. He's done that in the past. He's used his platform to be acerbic at best. And yet, principles. We believe in them. We use them, we do them, because they matter. And so I hate to shatter the man. I don't want to take any joy in doing that. But I can't avoid any longer that the most expensive TV show in the history of TV shows and Netflix's biggest play is now in serious danger. What happens if these allegations get out there just prior to the start of the show or just prior to the finale? It would be fireworks for sure. Fireworks for sure. And not the kind Netflix wants to see. Now, this is where it gets even stickier. Marvin Montanaro again has this one over on Geeks and Gamers. Just released. Millie Bobby Brown may have alluded to issues with Stranger Things co-star David Harbour in Resurfaced interview. And this is where it gets bad. Because if there's been bad blood, if something happened around the pandemic or thereafter, if something happened and these two have had a very frosty relationship for a long period of time, and if she's making these kinds of allegations going back a long period of time, this gets unpleasant in ways that could be derailing to everything Netflix is trying to do. I'm going to skip through the parts where it talks about what's happened, because we've already read about that on a different website, that Park Place. But if we go to this paragraph, the Resurfaced interview, this is original and only on Geeks and Gamers. The clip from Brown's March 2024 MTV interview resurfaced after the Daily Mail report, when host Josh Horowitz joked that her wedding should be Stranger Things themed and that David Harbour would officiate. Brown didn't exactly beam with enthusiasm. Instead, she answered with a hesitant yes. Her facial reaction was a tight smile and a squint. She followed that up with, "I don't know how I feel about that, sure." She then pivoted immediately and volunteered a different name entirely. Co-star Matthew Modine, who plays Dr. Brenner, claiming he's my fake dad. And yes, he did officiate the wedding. But it's an interview that if you go watch it, we're not going to play it here because I think we will get hit with the, they don't like us to play this stuff. I don't know why. We want to advertise it for them. It's an old interview, but still they don't want to play us or don't want us to play it. So we can't play it, but we've read it to you. You can go watch it. You can go find it. Again, folks, it is Josh Horowitz, Daily Mail, Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown. Go watch it. 2024 MTV interview. Okay, that's enough info. You can go find it. Clearly uncomfortable. Clearly uncomfortable. We're 1.5 years removed from that. How long has this been going on? How long has she been uncomfortable? We don't know. We don't know. One thing's for sure. Maybe $1 billion or more. Actually, at least $1 billion. There's a lot riding on this. Is riding on whether or not they can ride through this without any of this spilling out in the public. I don't know if Millie Bobby Brown wants it to be public. I don't know if David Harbour's ex-wife and the team behind that want it to be public. I don't know if he wants to be public. Maybe he does so it can be vindicated. I don't know. But this is creeping up. And this is yet another reason, folks, this is yet another reason why Hollyweird needs to be careful about sitting on their high horse and their soapboxes and keep eyes always on you. Especially, guys, I know some of you out there in Hollyweird, you think you're above it all because you've become a supreme beta male. That's not going to save you. That's not going to save you at all. Go ask Justin Baldoni. Folks, you as a dude in Hollyweird, you need eyes on you all the time. You need cameras on you all the time to prove that you didn't do what you said. And even then, it might not be enough. And likewise, ladies, it looks like Millie Bobby Brown is doing this exactly the right way, filing this discreetly with the company and taking all the right steps. I don't know. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful. We're hearing reports, by the way, that Emiru, the Twitch streamer, is getting lawsuits placed against her. Don't know if that's true yet or not. However, hearing that Miskiff, I guess, is the name of the guy, is filing counter suits or lawsuits. I don't know. All I can tell you, it's messy. It's very messy. So keep yourself above reproach. Keep the doors open. Keep the cameras on you. Keep friends near you. And even then, that might not be enough, but it's a heck of a start to keep yourself out of hot water. Stay in front of others who can vouch for what's really going on. And who knows? If you have some bad personality traits, they might just help keep you accountable as well. Folks, that's where we'll leave it today. Remember, on either side of the political spectrum, don't get too crazy out there. Folks, the sky will still be there. The sun will still be shining tomorrow. And we are confident in knowing that the truth tellers and those who can bring the message and give you the hope you need going forward, those are going to be the ones that rise up. Don't chase after those who give you excuses and blame. Find those who can lift you out of the rain and back to the sunny skies. All right, folks, click the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And until the next time, we have the joy, the honor, the pleasure, and yes, the responsibility of spending time together. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
You'd better hang on to your feathers, Zilver. They need to put you in the show.
What? Jose, what are you listening to? You don't even have ears.
Vacation Radio 24/7. Original music on YouTube. Vacation Radio. WDW Pro Music Channel.
I have no idea what you're saying. But if you want to be listening to music, you should head over to Vacation Radio 24/7 on YouTube. One of the 100 other channels WDW Pro's been working on. Oh, and I have a song for you, Jose. Jose Cowabunga. He is Jose Cowabunga.
He's Jose.
That one seems a little bit foreign to you.